On Thursday, the group, including FBI officials, visited a courthouse and interviewed some of those who Turkey claims are involved with FETÖ. Turkey is seeking the extradition of the group's leader, Fethullah Gulen, who's living in self-imposed exile in the U.S. state of Pennsylvania. Well, Turkey has asked for the extradition of Gulen 7 times. 4 requests relate to offenses allegedly committed before the failed coup. He and his organization FETÖ are also accused of using fake evidence to mount criminal cases against politicians, as well as forgery and fraud. Turkey has sent evidence to Washington for more than 80 other suspected Gulenists it wants extradited from the United States. Well, let's get more on this. Our diplomatic correspondent Andrew Hopkins joins us from the Turkish capital. Andrew, why is this meeting seen as so important after all the other meetings about Fethullah Gulen and his organization?
Well, Ali Can, I think there's now some hope really in Turkish government circles that this situation regarding the extradition of Fethullah Gulen and these other suspects may actually be moving in Turkey's direction at last, that after 2 years of negotiation and all this evidence that they've sent, that things may now be going their way. This delegation that's here, it's the first time that a delegation has specifically come to Ankara to look into the extradition of Fethullah Gulen and all the other suspects. This is the reason why it's made up mainly of legal professionals, prosecutors and members of the FBI. And we've seen that they've already been to a courthouse here in Ankara yesterday to look at the proceedings of some of the Gulenist suspects taking place. The Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu in recent weeks, he has been talking up a little this situation. He has been talking about how the FBI is carrying out investigations that he's heard of in New Jersey in the United States. But I think it would be maybe a rather big step to expect some kind of announcement on extradition after this delegation's visit. But at least I think Turkey, the politicians in the government, think that their view is now being taken a bit more seriously by the United States authorities.
Okay, fair enough. So Turkey perceives this as possibly a turning tide, but why has it taken so long for Gulen and other suspects to be extradited? Why has this process taken so long?
Well, I think there are a number of factors, but one of the main ones is that this is a complicated process, that Turkey has been submitting evidence regularly over the past 2 years or so for the United States authorities to review. Judges have to get involved if there's deemed to be a case for extradition. Then I expect there would be appeals from Fethullah Gulen and the other suspects involved in these cases, and also the United States Secretary of State is allowed to give his opinion, and we're not even at this moment at the stage where any major court cases have been held. So this is going to be quite a long process. But I think one of the other major issues here has been Turkey's struggle to convince the United States of its view of the Gulenist organisation, that it is a terrorist group. For the outside world, this organisation has been involved in setting up schools, businesses, charitable foundations, that kind of thing. It hasn't really, at least until 2016, been involved in what you might say is sort of archetypal terrorist activity, namely shooting people, blowing things up. But I think the Turkish government now thinks its narrative, its attempts at persuading the United States are making headway, that this group, which has been in operation for several decades, has tens of thousands of members and has infiltrated many walks of Turkish life, such as the civil service and military, with the aim of destabilising the government. This is now being treated seriously, and now there could be some headway made.